Hey, I know it's dark. It's really late, and this is the best light that I can get, but I wanted to send this out as quick as I could because there is something going on. At least I'm gonna try and get some more light over here. Okay, I just saw Slumdog Millionaire for the second time, and I know that the Oscars are tonight in America, and so you people listen up here. That movie was fierce. I wanted to anchor this discussion around an article that I read tonight just before seeing the movie for the second time in the local version of the Wall Street Journal. It's called Mint. And this guy, he has written everything that epitomizes. Um, it epitomizes privilege. I was going to say that epitomizes my disgust with privileged, with the ignorance that privilege can bring to people, um, including me, because relative to a lot of people, I'm privileged. So I'm not saying that there's some blanket privileged, unprivileged person kind of paradigm going on here, but it's just shocking to me. Let's start. Let me start because I don't have to clock his T. Why Slumdog Millionaire is unbelievable. He says that the director Danny Boyle reported on the Indian slum with the Westerner's thoroughness, bowing down to the white people, and then he goes on to say, but this man has not observed the character of the person in the slum. As you know, in Slumdog Millionaire, this guy from the slums wins the show. You know, Who Wants to Become a Millionaire. Um, and the night before he answers the last question, he's taken into custody so that he can, so that people can figure out why he's cheated. They think that he's cheated. Obviously, he hasn't cheated because he becomes a millionaire. But it's so unbelievable that that could happen, and I think that that is part of what is going on in the background of articles like these. A lot of people here in Delhi are disgusted with this. People are saying that it shows a negative image of India. It's not the right image of India, meaning it won't get the white people to come here to visit and invest. And that's basically what that argument amounts to. But this man has an entire argument about why Slumdog Millionaire is unbelievable because of dignity. Because poor people don't have dignity. And it's dignity that was the character that he saw in Jamal, the main character, that allowed him to persevere through all the stories that he narrates, his love of this woman. He doesn't talk about his love of this woman and that, love can conquer all. Nobody talks about that. This guy says that it's the dignity. And I want to point out why it's hard for a lot of upper class, upper caste Indians here to watch this film. And I know that what I'm going to say is going to sound harsh, and I expect harsh feedback. But this guy says the softness in his face, the tenderness in his manner, these all demonstrate things that a slum person could not have. Enormous intellectual effort is needed for the man, from the boy that was in the film that saw his mother get killed in communal riots because she was Muslim, all that stuff. Um, needs to distance himself from that boy in order to, cultivate the kind of dignity it needs to build your life. The poor are not particularly interested in knowledge, he continues, as to why the poor are categorically denied dignity. That's what this article, I'm not exaggerating to you. The poor are not dignified, they are craven. To show them in dignity is as fantastic as to show them content in their poverty. Think about the legend of Bagger Vance, where a magic Negro just appears out of nowhere to help a drunkard, wayward, cute American white guy. Or think about a million other movies that you've seen in Hollywood that have this magical black Negro character, be it Annie in The Imitation of Life, be it Denzel in The Pelican Brief, be it Denzel in XYZ, most of Denzel's movies, be it Sidney Poitier in a few. The Magic Negro. I'm not going to go into what all that is, but there is a theme around the Magic Negro. Please Google it if you don't know what it is. But this Magic Negro strokes people's egos. And in the very same way, movies like Spike Lee's, what comes to mind? Spike Lee's, most of Spike Lee's movies, but especially Do the Right Thing. That's why a lot of people have trouble with it. When you challenge, especially white supremacy, when you challenge white supremacy, people take notice. People's egos are struck. You have to do it in such a way that's comical, that makes people laugh, and it doesn't make them feel too harsh and too bad about themselves. And that's the issue with this movie, Slumdog Millionaire. All of the people who'll be watching this movie in English, and the people who'll be seeing this video on YouTube, all the people who will be reading these articles from Mint, every single one of them, they were the bad guy in Slumdog Millionaire. Think about it. The teacher who beat boys over their heads, the middle-class people in their cars who just roll up their windows to the children begging on the street. I do it. I do it every single day. There are kids who live under the flyover near my house, and I'm happy to put my earphones in my ear. I look around me. Everybody else is ignoring them. Some people are pestered by them. Very few people actually give them something, and even fewer people consider their own culpability. Because now think about this. This man talks about, you know, the poor are rejected in India for their condition. Their condition. Nothing beyond that matters because that fact is supreme. You know, and he goes on and on. If they did regularly, if people thought about, you know, poverty with compassion in India, this is what this man is saying. If they did regularly, it would be intolerable for us to live surrounded by such sorrow. And what's interesting about reading such articles in India is that Buddhism comes from India. Think about that for a second now. Buddhism says, think about your environment. Consider that we are not separate. We're interconnected. The Dalai Lama calls it, in the form of Buddhism that I practice, it's the same. It's the same. It's a very fundamental Buddhist way of orienting your world. Is that you're not separate. It sounds pretty metaphysical on some levels, but on a very basic level, I am because you are because I am. What they say, what the Black Americans say, is African proverbs. I am because we are because I am. There are so many different ways to talk about collectivity. And what I'm talking about here is that in this part of the world, and I'm not saying this person, you know, this Akar Patel, he might be a Hindu. He might not be Buddhist. I'm not saying that everybody is Buddhist. I'm saying that it's interesting to notice that these two mentalities exist at the same time, founded together, that we're interconnected. And yet here's a man who can write, he's smiling, look at him, he's grinning, talking about how people in India can't be compassionate. People who were reading this article, he doesn't say that. And as you notice, if you look at how things are carefully worded, who is we? Who are they? And you hear this, and this is why I make the connection with racism in America, in Hollywood, and racism, dramatization in India, and the Bollywood movie industry. It's amazing to see how poverty is characterized, demonized, so much so that poor people can never have dignity. It's interesting to see that wealthy people, you know, not wealthy people, but, you know, us, normal people, regular people, so we don't have to say it, can't feel compassion on a regular basis, otherwise we wouldn't be able to live. That's why it's painful to watch this movie. And that's why white folks might love that stuff, because there are people who are more racist than us. No, America, that's where we are today. That's why we have someone like Obama. That's why Americans, all Americans are like, wait a minute, we could change. We don't have to be that. We are redeemable. You can say that through Christ. You can say that, you know, be reborn by the renewing of your mind, as Nina Simone says. But I do believe that people can change.